All right, guys, how we doing? Sam here with you. It's Friday the 19th, and so we are going to look at Bitcoin. And of course, that was I threw the poll open to anything today, since members, you all got a big dose of Grandmaster Quan and his take on on Bitcoin and the whole crypto space in general. So I just threw it open, and there was enough interest in getting a second look here at Bitcoin. I'll tell you what, typically I try and record these at around 11 o'clock. That's when it's lunchtime in New York, so the day trading in the futures markets that I follow, it slows down here, so I try and do it during that period of time. I'll tell you what, it's now almost 2 o'clock. For the last 2 hours, damn near 2 hours, I've been back and forth with Sensei Hove and members, you guys know, Rixus82. He's one of our really advanced Elliott practitioners, and I think he's going up on his brown belt now. He's very good. So he's a member. Isn't that cool? I have members I can turn to for counsel if I can't figure out a count. And he's one of the best. But we all struggled with this, because what can happen here to Elliottians is that sometimes we get so caught up in trying to pick through the subdivision here that we can miss the most obvious thing that's staring you in the face. And I tell you what, I think that's what we have here. Now, there is, as is always the case with a wave count, it's what you can determine at that moment in time. But they're fluid, because all it takes is for the market to do something additional. It can either invalidate or change your count completely. So counts, right? I'm sorry to use the pun here, but they're fluid, right? The wave structure is fluid. It can change on a dime based on an invalidation or a rule break or stretching a guideline. So you can't be ultra rigid, right? All we ever can do here is look for probability zones. That's all we get. There's no certainty here. There's no absolute positive. Well, I guess in hindsight, when we're back, whenever this resolves, whether it's down or up, when this resolves, we'll be able to work backwards through it and come up with the count that is most consistent with the Elliott rule set and guidelines. But I'll tell you what, this has been a real bear. So I said this is a 4 hour, and I happen to be on Coinbase here, but you're going to get the same thing. Really, to some degree, the first question we have to be asking ourselves, let's see, can I do it here on a 4 hour? Yeah, we can. Well, first question is this a 3? Is this a 3 or a 1? Because you can count this completed either way. We can be done up here. We can get a completed impulse per the subdivision. But if you maybe take a second look at it, this can just as easily be the 3. Now, I have been leaning into the idea that this is a completed impulse, but what I'm seeing here now, if indeed the low is in here, and there's a very strong case that the low is in. I mean, even just looking at the structure here, if we just look at this, right, this formation here, the problem with this as the 2, if this is the 5, if this were the 5 here and the 3's here, 4's here, the length of time here for this to be our 2, not to mention the depth of it is just all wrong, right? So it's not that that's not possible. That's not what I'm saying. It's just if you're playing the odds, which is all we can do here, we can just look for the tendencies, guidelines, and then digging into the rule set of Elliott Wave to help guide us as to what's most likely here. So I'm sure you guys have all done this. So we draw this up here. You were in between the 38 and the 50 off the low. So it technically, based on the depth of retracement, could be either. Could be a second. But if you look at the length of time here, so I pointed this out in the last video we did here. So what's our low here? December through June 27th. So we've got almost a 6-7 month run here from the low, and we're going to correct that from June 26th, and we're going to put in our low here on July 17th. Less than a month. It just the symmetry is so terribly off. So you just draw it up, right? This is worth doing. I do this all the time, just to look at it, right? Because sometimes you just kind of miss it if you don't just pull it apart. So that's if this were going to be the impulse, then that's what we're looking at here. That looks a lot better to me than we've completed, and we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this is the 2 before we go up. the length of time of the 2 and the depth just pushes me towards putting the 4 here. And then if we look at this, let me just clear this up here. So what your eye sees here, man, this can be a little deceptive. So your eye sees, you look at this, and so if you'd never, so say you just read Elliott Wave, the Elliott Wave principle. All right, you looked at that and you said, and you brought this chart up and you're flipping through. Okay, corrections. What could this be? What could this be? Right. So we've got a variety of corrections here, and there's nothing here that's exactly perfect. But your eye wants to say, okay, so what's the big problem here? I got a 3, I got a 3, I got a 5. What's the struggle? Why is that difficult? Well, I'm not saying that you wouldn't necessarily be right here, because it looks like a 3-wave here, 3-wave, looks like I may have 5 here. We've got to dig through that a little bit. But at its simplest, 3, 3, 5. Well, okay, all right, so now let's see. Let's check into the rules a little bit more. Well, we know that, and this is, as Rix has put it, this is a topic of debate here. So is it a rule or is it a guideline? I play it as a guideline. I'm not as much a purist as some, perhaps what people may interpret based on the fact that I'm applying Elliott Wave in pretty much everything I post here for you guys. So rule is it a rule or a guideline? Well, even if we look at the guideline, the B wave needs to retrace per the book, 90%. All right, per Elliott Wave International. The B wave needs to retrace 90% the length of the A wave, and we do not get it here. We don't even get the 887. So do we have an imperfect flat here with this guideline being stretched here? Or do we have something else? So then immediately, right, so again, I'm just playing through the storyline. If you're just brand new to Elliott Wave and you're looking at this going, well, okay, well, if it's not that, what else could it be? So if I'm not meeting the criterion here, if it can't be a flat because of that, well, what are my alternatives? Well, then you're kind of digging into the subdivision going, okay, maybe there's something here I'm not seeing in a 4 hour, so immediately we want to go to the lower time frame. So that is a very long-winded introduction to where I'm about to go here. Because if you work through the subdivision here, one, if you go down too small, you can send yourself into just a giant mess of trying to get it to fit. And that can really lead Elliott traders just into just not only paralysis of analysis, but struggling to find an answer, and then force fitting, which is kind of, I think that happened to me a bit here, because I was absolutely convinced about what I was looking here. See, if you're thinking the 3, 3, and we've got the 5 is in, and then you realize, oh, maybe this doesn't work, well, then perhaps the next thing you're thinking, well, you've gone and say, oh, maybe I've got a WXY. Well, that would be an ABC, followed by an ABC, followed by an ABC. So then your next thought would be, oh, maybe it's a WXY. Right, and that's been the thinking that I'm sure there are accounts out and about, right? Whether it's Elliott traders or educators or just people applying Elliott Wave here. This structure here and how to label this, I'm sure, is open to interpretation. But so I'm going to get you to what I think it is. But I just want to take you through this thought process. Partly you guys were requesting, take us through your thought process here, because I've been changing my account. Changing my account along the way. And the amazing thing is, I think what we're going to get to is the simplest thing that is staring you in the face. Right? Or I should say staring me in the face. And we've been going through just mental gyrations trying to figure out what the fuck is going on here. So let me just go back. So I need to do this because I need to correct my last count for you guys, right? So we've talked about this in the room, and I posted this up, and I did it as a bit of a chart challenge, because I was absolutely convinced this. Well, pardon me, I got to go over here where I had the error. I was absolutely convinced. Oh, shit, where did I put it? I've got it over here. Where do I? There it is. Okay, we got to remember the order here. All right, I have a storyline here. We're going to get there. This is what threw me completely off, right? And it had me mistakenly think I was looking at a guideline rather than a rule. So I was absolutely certain this was a WXY. Absolutely certain. And truth be told, at least at this degree, and I'm down to the 15 minute, and I don't want to go below that because it's so there's so much squirrely action down here. But when forced to, right, I will go down to that 5 minute and see if there's something that I've missed. And here, let me just walk you through this because this is a bit of review here, but I swear to God, this, sometimes you see it, you're absolutely certain of it, but then what follows invalidates. So the rip down here, and I am on a 15 minute, there's very little that we can pull out of that. It's just a free fall. Right, but what follows, the 3 is very solid here. So you can see that here. So here's our low. We get up to the B wave here. We come down yet again, and then we get this. So we have a it's skinny, but it's from the move down. We go A, B, and then we get the C here into the B wave. But this is what really had me convinced that we had a completed ABC, right? So in terms of labeling based on what follows, that would lead you to think it was a W. This is absolutely, man, it's hard to see that as anything else other than an impulse. I mean, it is textbook, right by the book. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All the subdivision is there. Now the 1 wave's a little skinny. You got to go down to the 5 to get it. But the 2 is technical. There's the impulse in the 3. 4, got a nice little ABC in the 4. Very, very clear impulse in the 5th. Right? So your first thought is, and this was my first thought, okay, W means I've got an ABC X. So now I'm looking for the Y. So I'd be looking for the Y. Well, I guess I got to pull it out here. So this is what I was absolutely convinced of. All right, and I'll just show you for those that haven't seen it. So I had us coming down here, W, X, Y, and then going into another X to accommodate the 3-way pattern here. Well, see, I had been playing this as a guideline, right? In my mind, right? Convoluted because I was so convinced here that I could go into a combination. Well, the first problem with it, the main error, the rule break, it's not a guideline, it's a rule. The second X can't be higher than the first X, right? So that immediately invalidates X, X, X. Pardon the pun. That is a big, fat, not allowed. Can't have it, right? So my mistake, guys. Bad, right? I'm not perfect. Don't claim to be. That's just a glaring mistake I made here. Fortunately, per what follows, it doesn't put me or you guys into a bad trade. But that is just a rule that can't be. There is no guideline. That's a hard rule. So this count cannot work. So I come back here and I go, well, goddamn, man. I am absolutely sure we complete an ABC here. So I go off to Sensei Hove, and I'm talking to a Rixus 82, and we're back and forth, back and forth. What's here? What's here? I went to another member who's really solid on Elliott Wave. I went to Crypto Mento, who's become a friend and an ally. We're going back and forth, back and forth. We can't quite get anything to work, right? So that's the frustration of it because always, right? That's what we as Elliottians believe. Always, there is a count there. You just haven't found it yet. So now I'm doing complete gymnastics here, trying to figure out what this is. So I think this. So this is where I ended up with. So this is. I'm going to tell you here. I don't think this is what it is, but this is the process that I could see you guys going through. So now I'm back and forth. I'm talking to Sensei Hove, and we're down on the 5 minute, and I gotta jump to. Give me a second here. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. So I got to jump back to this. So I come back here. We're here where I am absolutely certain we've got a completed A wave. And we're looking at, I'm down on the 5 minutes. So let me zoom in here so you can see this. And I'll be damned if there isn't, you couldn't make a case for this as a little baby AB, which means I've got the ABC here of a 1. Then I've got an ABC of a 2. Then I'd have to trade this as an ABC coming down. ABC into the 3. Right? Then what do I do about this? It's a perfect impulse, right? But it can't be an impulse. So I got to trade it as either an A, B, C here, which I think fits because you can see, god damn it, it's hard not to call that an impulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I got to go A, B, And I got to trade this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to give me a C down here to give me the A wave. So already I'm labeling that going, oh, it's a fucking impulse. Right, so what's the alternate? All right, so now you're thinking ABC. Now you're over here. Let me go back to an hourly, and you're thinking, okay, well, it can't be that. So what's left? Well, now you're thinking if it's WXY, well, I got to finish here with an ABC. If we're going to be done here, I need an ABC. So I think I've got it. All right, so I think, oh, okay, I've got it. So here's my W, A, B, C, and the X. Okay, all good. So I can get an A, B, and it's a little ugly here, but I can get the expanding diagonal here. I don't have a rule break until I get right here. And it's Arixis who pointed this out to me, right? I was sure I had it, right? And I'm like, oh, got it, guys. I got it. We're back and forth. We probably exchanged counts 15 times. And I got it. Nope, can't have it. Right, rule break right in here. Right, would be really easy to mistake to make. Fuck, I made it. Right, so here I'm thinking 1, 2, 3. So I'm thinking the extension's in the 1. Okay, I got 1, I got 2, I got a short 3, but it's longer than 5. So 1 is the longest, then 3, then 5, and I'm golden. All right, until we get to. All right, and I didn't double check it until we get to the 2 to the 4. If this is going to be an expanding diagonal, the 4 has to be longer than the 2. And I'll be damned if I measure it. If I take the length of the 2 and project it from the 3, it just misses. And can't have that. Can't have that. That's a solid rule break. That cannot be an A wave. Right, easy, right? So that gave me that solved the puzzle for me. Now I'm back here going, God damn it. What is it? So now you're trying to compromise, thinking, well, maybe I've got something truncated down here and I can't make it fit. Damn it, can't make it fit. Right? So what I suggest often to people that they do is when you're in that position, you just can't figure it out. All right? Go back, pull out, so get a bird's eye view on this. And say, okay, what else? Is there something I'm missing here? Right, what's the most common correction we could identify? Right, it's a zigzag, right? 3, 3, 5. But your eye is so dialed into this as an A, B, C that you miss it. All right, very easy mistake to make. Let me go down to the hourly where we can see this a little bit better. Oh, let's pull over here. Where do I have the corrected one? Okay, here is the corrected version. Now, let me get all of this off of here. All right, so it does have one anomaly in it, which we're gonna be right on that edge of a guideline and a rule. All right, this is not only what I think is the correct piece at this moment in time. Remember, it could be invalidated easily, and I'm going to show you the alternate. This is the easiest thing that you could possibly have started with, right? So now I'm 3 hours into this, and I'm back to, holy shit, could it be this simple? I'll be damned. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got an A wave. I've got a leading diagonal here. All the rules are met here. I get an expanding diagonal here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got an A wave. A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got a beautiful B wave here. Now, we are back to that guideline / rule, right? I don't make 90%. I don't even make 887. So, right, here's where you got to ask yourself, are you a purist? Or, right, just the reality of market's imperfection? Are we going to allow for this? Well, as far as I'm concerned, there is no other answer at the moment. I think you got to allow for this, right? We get between the 787 and the 786 and the 887. It's enough, and then we roll over. I think you have to play this as an ABC and treat it as a zigzag here. Now, pardon me. I'm mixing corrections. Pardon me. This solves the problem. If this is 3, 3, 5, right? We don't have the issue here of not going 97 because if we're doing a zigzag, we don't need this to go 90%. Excuse me. There's so many counts, I've got all my corrections. Now, and then this was also relatively technical in that we hit the 50 and then I get this beautiful impulse here. All right, so back to the easy answer here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a zigzag. Now, ideally, you'd see something a little deeper here, and you note here we don't make the algo target. But there is a lot of confluence of other of swing relationships that are here at this pivot. So I think we've got the most basic rudimentary correction after struggling through all the possible scenarios here. I think we got a simple zigzag that puts me at the 4 here. Implying, well, so that would be accommodated by this price action if and only if this is going to stay as a motive wave. Right now, everything, what am I, 20 minutes in? This could all be invalidated if we do that. All right, so everything would be invalidated. Right now, no reason to assume it. So we have this looks like going in. Looks like I've got the makings, the 1, 2, 3, 4, the 2 to the 4, all good. So here I am going length of the 3. I'm between the 50 and the 38, no problem. I've got an algo target up here. If we can kick up here and get that, I've got an impulse coming off the low. All right, I've got a 1 wave coming off of the C, which is the proposed 4, coming through that correction, 1, 2, 3, 4. I need this. Right now I feel better about this, which makes me feel better about the whole thing. So now I get a better sense of where I am. Well, I got a little set of median lines here I can put on this. We can start teeing that up here. That looks promising. Looks like that's a contender. So if that will come up here and give me that 1 wave, then I'm looking for the 2, 3, 4, 5. So here we go, going into the weekend. We're gonna stay strong here, right? Or is this gonna roll over? Now, if it rolls over, I'll show you the alternate. If this doesn't realize, if we don't get this, all right, and we head down here, well, we've got an ABC then, right? And that's gonna change the count. So, but let's not go there just yet, right? So right now, this would be the expectation, right? No certainty, but the expectation, we're coming up here to complete the motive off of this low to give us the 4, right? And then this would be just the start on the 5. All right, let me pull back out here. Okay, so what else can we do? What else is here? It's not right. We can tee that up, but we can't. Right now you'd pencil that in. It's not confirmed until I get up here, and I really want to break this high pretty substantial. I want to get that algo target. Look where the point of control is. I need this to make me more confident in this, more confident in this, and the whole thing actually then starts to gel. And then you come back to it and you go, well, it's a simple zigzag. What was all the fuss about? All right, we shall see if that's the case. Now, there's a few things here that are worth looking at here, just in terms of just the, a bit of education, and let's take that off here. We're not confirmed yet. Just in terms of looking, because the other wild card in here was, so I'm gonna take off the alternate here, so that be, is that right? So this would be our 3. Let me back up. Hang on a sec, guys. That's my problem. I'm too low a time frame. Okay, let's go back to a 4-hour. Okay, so that would mean this count currently is not my primary, right? So there's always a possibility we're back to considering this the 5, which I'm going to show you the alternate that would imply that. Right now, no reason to assume this. So let's go dig in and see if we can build any legitimacy into that pivot. Well, the obvious thing is we've just come to the structure here. Right, so prior resistance becomes the support. Yeah, we got to tick through it, but we've had a fairly good bounce off of that, somewhat unexpectedly. Right, so, but if you were looking at the chart going, oh, where's a spot where we might bump into some support? Well, that would be the first thing you'd draw. Right, just using these pivots here, you draw that up and go, well, that's a reasonable spot to be looking for some support. Right, we got a little divot here in the volume profile here. So A, B, C, come we down to support. What's the problem? Well, so immediately, you're looking at this going, well, it's not. If you draw from the low, you'd be expecting something a little more precise. So if I grab, hang on, if I grab my low here, right? If that's going to be the 2 to if we're going to go from the 2 through the pivot of the 3, right? We're kind of left in between. We don't make we go past the 38. We don't make the 50. So you're looking at that going, front run? I think not. That's too far for a front run. All right, so I'm here on a 4 hour, right? For an algo to front run there, shit, maybe we'll never know. But you know, if you had to bet on it, that seems shit. 91 to 85, a 600 point front run seems less likely here. So then you got to look at it and say, much like we did with Litecoin just the other day, well, I need more than that. I need more than just this structure. I need precision around that pivot. If I'm really going to lean into the idea that that pivot is in and we're off now to head towards that, I need more there. This is me personally, right? You could you trade right off of that, right? A, B, C, we got the zigzag, the 3's in, we're right to structure, off we go. That's certainly not unreasonable. Me, I want more. I want to build a case for that low. So let's go down to the 30 here. I think we can see some of this here on the 30. All right, so the first thing I'm going to look for is, do I have any sort of a relationship between the length of the A from the B? Do I have, all right, if we're looking at a zigzag, is there anything there for me to work with? All right, so I'm going to take the length of the A. I'm going to project from the B. Right on there. Well, now that could be a front run, right? So that's very, very common that we'd come 100%. And probably the most common, second most, would be the 1272 in a zigzag that we're going to get 100%. Right, so we just miss it. Right? Now, so you look and you go, is it the structure? Is that what it is? That holds it? Could be, right? How are we going to know? Well, what else? What else can I find there? Well, of course, this is potentially not meaningful. So first, of course, we're going to put some median lines on it. I don't make the median line. All right, so that is a point of caution to me. So I look at that, get that right on there, and I go, ooh, failure to make the median line. So now I want to check more on this pivot, right? So I love it. If we get here, right? If we come down here and this comes down, we get the median line. Can't buy it fast enough, right? The count completes, everything's good. We're right at a technical level. I got the median line. I'm a buyer. Well, we come up short. Well, we know from trading principle number 4 of Andrew's work that a failure to make the median line sets up a move equal to or greater than the move that failed to get there. Right? That sets up a rather substantial push off of this if that's going to hold as our low. If, right? It's bullish, the fact that we don't get there. Now, we haven't cleared the parallel yet, so this will be a bit of a tell. Can I get through that? Can I get this 5? It's one more component to lead me into, okay, I've got my impulse off the low. Maybe that's just the start. So we get the A, B, C coming down, and now we're off for the 3, and I complete, right, per the trading principle number 4, I get a move equal to or greater than the move that preceded. Boom, boom. Yeah, I get a retrace, but ultimately the swings get me past that pivot. Okay, so I've got something that I can work. Now I'm going to take this off, right? But again, I'd keep that on somewhere. What else? What else is there? What else do I have to work with? Well, I can start looking for fib relationships between the swings coming down here. So I can take the length of the 1 projected from the 2. What do I got? Well, let's pull them over so that we can stack it. So right from the 2. Okay, so I've got the 1272 on top of the 100. Okay, worth checking, right? So that's interesting. I'm building a case down here for this. We're a couple of we're what did we get here? So we got 9075 and the hundreds at 89, 86. Let's keep going. What else is there? All right. Well, I can take the length of the 3rd projected from the 4. Right. What have I got? Get that right on there. Okay. Then I've got another 100. Okay. So I'm stacking. I'm stacking swing relationships here. I've got 3 now. What else is there? What else can I take? 1, 2, 3. I've got that. I've got the length of the 1 from the 2, length of the 1 from the 4. Oh, there's one more. I could take the length of the 1 through the 3, project that from the 4. Well, I got nothing there. Oh, pardon me. I took the 618 off because of it. Hang on a sec. There you are. Okay, took that off because I have another count where it was in the way. So I'm literally, that's within a couple of sats of, or pardon me, a couple of, what do we got? Less than $10. All right, so it's essentially now there's my fourth component. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 components all stacking up here. Now the idea of a front run off of that is starting to look pretty good to me. Now there's one other, yeah, we can do it on Coinbase here. Let's see. So I think I can wrap here. So with the idea being, before I take you, we go a little bit off into some more different stuff. Per the Elliott count, I think we can lean into this as a good low. Now, this will be the tell, right? Do we come up here and confirm and get that motive wave? If we do, and we don't have point of control, reasonable target, we've also got an algo target sitting right there. You'd also, of course, from the low to the high, we know damn well there's going to be another algorithm sitting there that will be there selling to take it to this target. Right, so if we get this 5, don't necessarily assume we're out of the woods yet, because I guarantee you there'll be software there and there'll be software here with that as a target. You're going to get selling pressure there because that's just dominant swing, right? Now, if that fails, don't forget now. If that fails, you got to go back 1. Right, so this is the all the way. Right, can't miss that. Remember, that's a pattern I point out to you guys all the time. This alternating set of pivots, when that comes to that 50 or that golden zone, that's a big time sell. Right, so it's going to take a bullish bias, volume, everything we're going to need here to get through all of that. So here's the big number that we got to get through. Let's call it 12,205. We got to get through that to get in the clear, to get out of that algo resistance that'll be there waiting to sell that. We got to get through that 65. All right, so this lot has to go right here for that to happen. If this rolls over, things change. Now let me go back to this last, where did I leave it? Hang on a second, guys. We'll find it here. I want something that's simple, where I don't have anything. So let's get the 4 hour here. All right, this is my simplest. Okay, so the other thing that I'll do when I'm struggling to get the count and I can't, or I'm struggling to get the wave relation, something's off and I can't find it. Well, you guys know that I like the Wolf tool, which is really a derivative of Gann's teaching. Right? So we're looking at 50s and 100s. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to get this I need to get this spot on. So just bear with me for just a sec here. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to go to the, whoops, I don't want that. I'm going to go to the magnet. Get off of there. I want the magnet. Okay, so I want the magnet on. I want to get right on that low. Come here. And I want to get right, looks like I've got it. Okay, so let me zoom back out. Now, if I pull this over, I guess I got to do it that way. Right on it? Okay. All right, so this, pretty interesting. Let's get this set up here. Okay, so if this is the initial range of the market, look how well this is responding here. So all we're doing is taking the initial range of the market, and then we're just adding it by 100%. So I go, here's my range, here's my 100, here's my 200. Now we blow right through that, but we come back, test the 200 up to the 400. All right, so I'm looking at that going, this is going to be my ABC. Now I want to keep going there. I want to see, because 400 is as far as I go with it. If I get that right on it, so I want to look here and see if there's any additional projection up. So I'm going to go this way. Get this right on that low. Okay, so right here, I'm right on it. Oops, get you right. No, see, this is why I don't use the magnet, because it can be a pain in the ass. Okay, I think we're right on it. Yeah, we are. Okay, so look here. So I go, here's the 400. Now I retrace, I come back to, so I get a new range here. So here's the range that I'm measuring now, from here to here. Fuck, that is a pain in the ass. So I've got here, there's my range, right? So now I'm looking up. I go 100, 200, 300. So I'm starting to get an idea of what's working. Now, what we come back down to, right to where we started that. So Wolf Tool is often a good place to go if you just can't get a handle on what the wave relationship, pardon me, what the swing relationship is happening. If you're not seeing the fib expansion, if you're not seeing it right on, look for the hundreds. The hundreds, the 200s, and 300s. So here's the 400 giving me the next range, takes me right up to the 300 to the tick. So if I'm thinking about next target, right, that's a candidate. All right, so then we put the whole thing back together, this being the 4 with a target up here for the 5, all right, so that would give us, if we're going to hit the minus 400, that would give us 15, well, call it 15,500, which is relatively close to, let's go back to our traditional template here. All right, so let's go back and see how that lines up. All right, so let's take the 3 from the 2. All right, so I've got there's some fatness to it, but I get a nice meaty target up here. Oh, call it 15,540 to 16,300. So I've got about $100 target up here. Either one of these, both potential targets here. So if this is going to hold, see, we're not right to the 50. So if it's not going to make the algo target because you don't have an algo on board here, which remains to be seen because you've got other pivots here that could have been in play. That puts it a little closer to the 50. If I just come up at the next pivot from here, if I come to this pivot, if that was used, and that's closer to a front run, it looks like that 16.5 is a real target. So I just thought I would give you another way to approach this. So something that I'll often go to if I'm really struggling to get my hands on the count. So all of that said, I think this is our, oh shit, now I've got to, I think that I think it's over here. This is our best bet here. That we've got the simplest thing that I could possibly put up there, a simple zigzag, into the 4. We stacked a good amount, right? It's not to the tick, but we're very, very close to that. Remember, we put 4 components into that. Now I need the 5 here, right? So this is what we wait for that. Now I will say this: if that I should give you the alternate here. If this roll. That's what I want. All right. If this, let's consider the alternate. If this rolls over, if we don't get that kick, what does that mean for us? Oh, fuck, hang on. It's hard to get all this stuff off. I don't want to delete everything. Okay, let's get this off. Okay, let's think about the alternate. All right, so this is one that was worthwhile. Okay, so if we roll over here, well, there's a couple of possibilities here, depending on how deep this goes. Since I have a 5 here, there is certainly the possibility, let's do it this way, that we've gone, well, if it's WXY, right, this could potentially not be done. All right, so this, let's take that off. So we've got WX, contender is that the Y's in. Right? If we fall over or something, if we get something, we come up here and we hit that algo target and we fail, right? What does that leave for us? All right, well, so you got a couple of possibilities here. One, you could go into a combination, so you could have a WXYXZ, right? Possible, we'd have a double. The other thought is that you could potentially just have an A wave going in here, B, C. Now, if we get something like that, right, which we can't rule it out, right? Something along those lines. Okay, you can see how that might play together, right? So we'd look here, we'd go up to the golden zone. Oh, shit. There you go. So there's potentially an alternate, more bearish, brings us back down to around 8K. Right, just using the algo target, right? I don't have that. So I look back here and I go, okay, well there's all that structure is still over here. Now let's use this low here. So I've got all of this still here, prior 3-4 degree down, right? Reasonable target for a retracement. If I come down into that zone, then I've got a WX and I'm just putting the A rather than having finished here with the simple zigzag. So if this is going to stay as a WXY, that's likely how we're going to get there. Now we'll have to see what happens. Back to, even if this does complete, let me go to the 1 hour. Even if this does finish as a 5 here, so if we get this, that's potentially just the A wave of the B wave going in, which I guess we'll put it over here. So if I get that, right, so we get the little kick up here, so I get a motive off the low, right, could very easily just be the A wave going in of the larger degree B. So let me get that. I don't know if I'm helping or hurting here by making this more complicated. So let's, all right, this will essentially will set us up for Monday's video based on what we get over the weekend, assuming we get enough volatility to imply that an alternate here or something, this may not, the weekend may not be enough time for this to play out. So if we're going to come A, B, and then come down for the C, well, now you're back to wondering, well, wait a minute. So is that still the candidate for the 4? All right, let's put it back together. Is that the candidate for the 4? Come here. Can I do it in 4? Yeah, I think I can. Or are we revisiting the idea that we're putting in the 2 from the low? All right. Where are we looking for the 2? All right, between the 50 and the 618. All right. Now you're back to, is this the 1, 2 going in? Or is that the 3 and the 4s going in? How are you going to know? All right, you're not going to know. You're not going to know. Right? You're not going to know until we see what comes, right? What follows. So, a bit of a conundrum. Nobody said this was easy. Trading is not an easy way to make money. Anyone who tells you so is lying to you. Right? This is not easy. All right, and that takes, I mean, again, I had to call in reinforcements here just because I couldn't get a count on it. And I would do this for a living. It's not easy. Not easy at all. So you trade what you can see, you work off of probabilities, you put a fucking stop on it. You don't expose yourself to undue risk when we have this much certainty, this much uncertainty, this much FUD. Shit, we've got the government involved now. I've often said there's only a few things that could really, really hurt Bitcoin. What's the one thing that could kill it? Right, power grid. Right, what's the one thing that could really slow it down? Government intervention. Now they can try. They've tried. Right, look at China. They try to. They can't ban it. They can't kill it. Only thing they could kill it is the power grid goes down worldwide, right? Then your Bitcoin will be the least of your worries. But in terms of what could slow the whole damn progression, the evolution here of digital currency, governments getting in to fuck with it, which is what's happening right now. So that's why we have FUD. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. What are they going to do? We've got the president, we've got the Treasury Secretary, we've got Congress sticking their. These are the kind of things that can slow it down. So fear, uncertainty, and doubt. What's that going to lead to? Lower prices. Right? It would take a lot more than that for me to lose my bullish expectation. I think there's extremely low probability that we're going down to test that low. But it's certainly possible. Trade carefully, guys. Boy, I really went long there. All right, well, you guys wanted my thoughts, so there you go. That's a shit, yeah. Anybody is still watching? Well, there you go. That's as much thought as I can give you. All right, guys. Talk to you.